Today is Saturday, November 24th, and today is the law of perpetual transmutation of energy. This 8th out of 12 universal laws that we have been talking about is a powerful one. It states that all persons have within their power to change the conditions in their life. Higher vibrations consume and transform lower ones. Thus, each of us can change the energy in our lives by understanding the universal laws and applying the principles in such a way as to effect change. This will be our topic today with Ryan's Wisdom of Energy.
Greetings. Once again we meet together, and there are new faces here, yes. Again, what would be this topic that you would like to embark on?
It is called the Perpetual Transmutation of Energy.
The Perpetual Transformation of Energy. Interesting topic.
Transmutation.
Transmutation.
How to transmute the energy.
With this law, these are, again, somewhat guidelines we would, again, mention, but they are somewhat of laws that all energy, you, everything around you, and everything that contains the chairs you are sitting in, if you were to zoom into these things, you would see that they are vibrating. They are changing in and out of form, and they are energy. It is all things energy. And energy is always moving into new forms and into new things. These chairs weren't chairs before, and they won't stay chairs. You yourselves are an energy, a leading edge to who you are, and perpetually in motion to what it is going on in your particular life. And your lifestyles are changing, the characters of what you are, the people you have become, and you have been doing this for some time now. It is a transformation that everything, all energy, moves. It continues to move. This earth energy is moving constantly. It is always changing the sceneries, the landscapes, the weather. It is all energy. You recognize some of the same similarities to day by day, but yet it has changed in subtle steps. And the drastic changes that you make within your own lives, that's what we would like to focus on here most of all. And so who would like to ask a question?
So I've been listening to some music that supposedly increase my vibration. Is that like does that help raise my vibration to connect to a different plane of people or energy?
Music has its own energy and vibrations, yes, of course, and they do seem to raise, lower, but it doesn't mean that it is necessarily a better vibration for you or not. There are some destructive noises that are around, but there are some that are more congruent with who you are, that especially carries a symbol, a manifestation of what it is that you would like to have. And many times, in fact, this is becoming somewhat of a problem here on your plane of reality, is people like to take ownership of this music, for it is something that harmonizes themselves. They see it and they feel it, and they are moving with the rhythms that these music has, and they feel it within themselves. Now, whether it is raising your vibration or lowering it, my dear, it does not particularly matter so much. But what it is doing is bringing you into a harmonization of what it is that you can understand on new levels. And if that is what it is to you, that is what it will be. Much of this reality is, if you think it is, therefore it is. These are laws and things that you have done. And it is interesting because humans love breaking laws. So, we would say these are guidelines. If you feel this energy is moving you in a higher vibration, then yes, it may be so that it is.
We create laws just so we can break them.
That's very true.
So how about when we come together like this circle, and we come together and we bring our energies. Are our energies naturally raised when your energy comes in?
The expandedness of your consciousness, we would hope, is a part of you that you take from this particular moment of time and extend that to the parts of your lives that you can remember those things, can apply some of those things, that can create a new kind of harmonization with all those other creators around you, these other people, these other manifestations, other mirrors, reflections of yourselves.
So when you see us doing that, do you get excited? Yay, they're doing something.
It becomes exciting when it is exciting for you. It becomes joyful when it is a joyful event for you. It is the happiness that you are learning to harness here, growing beautifully, finding. It is applying to everyone's life here. They are seeking it in so many different ways. And so this is where we see overall the projects that are happening here and within this small little circle here. That there is somewhat of a unity, a new idea, a new myth of what it is to be a creator. And you are applying, beginning slowly, different intervals, each of you at your own different progress rates and such. What is open to your lives, you are beginning to slowly and begin, though. That is the most important part, is begin in your own settled ways to begin your life in a more abundant form, in a more joyful way. You can walk it. You can apply yourself within it. That is what we'd like to manifest more than any other topic here, is how to bring more happiness to you, how to see that happiness that is in your heart and be able to reflect that more. Because it is not what man wants. It is what man is that they have going on in their lives. They cannot be another vibration. For what vibration is within themselves is also going to be what surrounds them in their external world. It's no different. You have this correlation always. This energy is connecting you with that, within, without. It is what it is, that the reasons why you feel limited in being able to have such things, because you feel limited within. And we would like to break some of those barriers here, open and expand some of those ideas, and perhaps touch on those limitations if it does seem to help.
We're very open to hear anything you want to share and that you can share. And I know you've shared a lot. That there's something new that you would like to open up to this group that would address that. We would love to hear that.
Something new.
Yeah.
Well, we find that an interesting question because you are all here at this moment new from last time we were here. And you have all had new experiences. And so have we, and so has humanity. And they are always discovering. We are always discovering also new ideas and new applications, but new ideas for this particular group. What it is to manifest yourselves in your life. Maybe we'll touch on that in this moment. Harmonize with yourselves first. Look within. deep within the limitations that you feel within your heart. Find out what it is and the feelings that are associated with many of those things, and allow yourself to understand where it is stemming from, and begin to show it all a bit of love. Yes, we're going to talk a little bit about loving yourself in a way that you can begin to see the other creations around you, the other creators, as we would say, around you. For you are in the midst of many others. And if you could see the depth and allow yourself the joy to be that kid again, allow that love to be abundant and bountiful, not limited, because you are in so many different moments of time where you feel that you must be a certain way because society has told you. But be the authentic self that you are. Now, what does that mean? The authentic self that you are. What is the authentic love, is what we would say here. What love is already within your heart that you can apply to all of the limitations within. You will step into your power, my friends, this way. And you also see with new eyes in the same sort of light. And you begin to harmonize with one another very quickly, because you are seeing this more often as you can realize these things. When you notice these emotions are developing within yourselves, notice them. Take a look at what is happening within them. These are nothing more than connections that you have with the earth itself. For as the earth has earthquakes, and as the earth has troubles, you also feel these within yourself. Look at where the pain is coming from, each part of it. And allow yourself the love that can also overwhelm much of this. And allow what it is that you are feeling, the stems that these are coming from, and where these were created from. And allow yourself the breaking of many of the boundaries there.
So when events take place in life, especially with those that we call our loved ones around us, when we begin to struggle to transmute that sadness so that we don't carry it too long, could you elaborate just a little bit? Perhaps maybe a technique, or I don't know exactly how to explain, but it's even like when we lose a loved one, or there's a sudden death. I know we don't understand the right now when we're in our body.
It is a perspective that we will talk about here. For it is this sort of way that you are in these bodies, and you have this veil around you, that you feel that there is a great separation when death occurs. And it is exactly the opposite on the other side of the veil. It is a celebration, as it is actually a sadness when there is a birth here.
No!
Gotta go back into the dross.
When you cross over, and perhaps this may help, you merge with all there is. Literally, infinitely, all there is. You have this ability to feel all the love that is available around you. It is part of that. And seeing that perspective changes the way that you may view death. Many of you have transformed yourselves into not quite fearing death as you used to be in certain ways of belief systems. For understanding a perspective in this sort of way, the veil seems to come down, to dissipate in certain ways. The connections that you have with your loved ones, for instance, are not so distant as you would seemingly see that, yes, their corpse is still here. But there is definitely a part of their intelligence that always will continue, and it will be a part of all that there is, and a connection with all that there is. You are only as alone as you feel, and you are also connected as you feel. It is a connection that you naturally have in this ability within yourselves, and each of you are understanding a little bit more each day as you're expanding on many of these opportunities to be able to connect in certain ways. And we could say that in a few different ways. By, for instance, you are here in this moment listening to what? This. There are connections, and there are feelings, and there are ways that can be across the veil. And there are even others who have journeyed before and have been able to see some of this transformation process coming about. But these veils are designed carefully. It has been designed for you, and you have come into this world knowing about this sort of thing to experience life in a separate individual, as you may see it. A fractured part of your life is here. A fractured part of your light is here.
By your own choice.
Yes, by your own design.
Do you have an awareness of perhaps maybe some of those that have passed on, some of our family, some of our acquaintances, maybe that are here in spirit, that we in our physical body aren't aware of?
There are beings that do stay around for some time and act as guides for you at some times, and some of these are very ancient. In some ways, they have been ancient friends of yours. And they have been your personal guidance. Those angels, as you would say, that have been around. This seems like you've gotten out of a narrow situation, or you have stumbled across a beautiful fact. You have come across these and have been helped along the way by these situations and by these synchronicities as they show up in your life. So many times they will take somewhat of an attachment and to you in order for your benefit in helping you along your way. And much of what is happening here, they wouldn't want to be separate from you as well, because you are almost inseparable with these sorts. So much of your vibration is intertwined, laced together in much of this way.
And the veils, these carefully designed veils, they're thinning, are they not?
Yes, in many different ways they are thinning as the openness of the human being. Now, not all beings are going to see this veil thinning as it may be, but some definitely see it with a whole other perspective. And to describe the differences, because you see such a limited world here. You see only so much of a vibration of light, and you only hear so much of a vibration of sound, that you can only understand the smallest mechanics of this veil to a certain degree. For you feel like you are just a speck on this little planet here, you call Earth, twirling around this universe that seemingly seems very empty to you. And yet it is teeming with life. And life is all around you in many different forms. And you are connected to much more than what you think you are in most moments. You're watched more carefully than you would even care to know. And mostly by your loved ones that are very close to you. You can thin these veils in certain ways by opening and expanding new ideas and bringing them in. And for instance, new ideas that are being constructed on a daily basis, new physics, as you would say, new possibilities, new science breakthroughs, many times are just simply looking at a new perspective or an expanded thought, a curiosity, and they worked on it and observed it, and they saw a different thing happen. And much of that is your own expectations that are also upon these vibrations that are happening. This energy that is always moving. Always changing. You have always been that creator, that connection to the vibrational world that you are all a part of. That's no different than the vibrational within, the vibrational part of who you are and what it is connected. Literally being the connecting ones, the creating ones, the co-creation of your reality.
Are you familiar with the word teleportation?
In many different forms, we are familiar with this.
Is that a technique or something that has been harnessed on this planet in the time that we're in now and is being used? Do you know?
There is forms that have been used in this way on this planet here. Mostly within government sort of facilities are these being performed in certain ways.
Kind of like Star Trek?
In a way, yes. And then there's also vibrations that are also coming here and doing a similar event. There are many different forms that this may take place for what it is when you sleep. Where is it that you seemingly go, that you find yourself in a whole other reality, that you seem like you have been there for some time? This is another form that would be in this sort of way, for you are not quite where you were before.
When we dream, are we connecting to many different dimensions of who we are?
Yes, many different dimensions of who you are. Many different dimensions of what your mind would see this world as. Many dimensions on also what you would call an astral plane. But they are other shifts of reality that you are, yes, very really walking into. It is part of the energizing part of what it is to sleep. It is also an adjustment that is also made within your body as you go through your sleeping processes.
So when you make your connection with the Keeper, is it just you riding a light wave?
You can say that it is riding a light wave. It is like a funnel, in a way, a connection, a bridge that I have that can basically teleport my own thoughts and impart a bit of my own wisdom in this part of this meeting. Yes, there is still a filter. It is through the Keeper. It is his expression. It is what it is that he does as he explains things in his own language. This language barrier is an interesting one, by the way. He gets more of the feeling of what it is, and he brings it through in an instantaneous sort of form. And there are more levels than what is being done on this sort of wavelength that is happening here. There is an harmonization, for instance, with the hearts that are here now. There is somewhat of a harmonization of some of the breaths that are here. It is simply harmonizing with some of the group, and even the rotation that you are rotating your own energy, dear ones. There is different things happening simultaneously, and yet there are other things that we couldn't even begin to try to explain to you, but they're happening on multiple levels, as your guides would be working with you also on these multiple levels that you seemingly stumble on in your own parts of your life, these synchronicities.
Can you talk a little bit about prayer? Like, is it somebody up there like hearing people praying?
It's a beautiful question that you ask here, because there is always somebody listening. There are many different forms of prayer, and these are vibrations, and the calling out of these sort of things automatically attracts those who want to help you in this sort of way. You are already beginning to align yourself also with other vibrations by extending your sincerity into some of this, in a way, can bring about more of what it is that you will be praying about.
So when we pray, is we have a specific, say we have a specific idea in mind, and does it get filtered up into this realm, and the energies that can help the best show up to do that work? Or
not always the case, no. These are energies that you are putting out, and the prayers are going to be different types of vibrations. It's not always that it was going to be a certain ending for you will always have your expectations, your reality that you are playing out. As you are pretending to be a human here, yes. You are going to have different entities that will understand, though, and will want to aid you in these sort of ways, as you are always aided in certain ways in your life, although it feels like you are very alone, independent in many cases.
well, especially when you're in a trauma or something, you feel very alone.
When the vibrations of prayer, for instance, are a very sincere one, you feel a calling out, a light seems to light up here. And entities cannot but help want to be a part of your experience and helping you manifest some of those ideas that you have, some of those manifestations. And it won't always be the case that they will help you in those sorts of ways, and that the best ones do come to arrive to help you in those sort of ways. But vibrations are heard through many different forms on this side and other sides of the veil, and are near you. And again, this would be along the lines of the guides that are around you already. They are seeing you as like a child in every moment. And many of your thoughts are being recorded in many different ways. They are vibrations of yourselves. You are also connecting with yourself in a deeper sense. Many times it is calling on a God. In any form that may take for you, this is an especially special thing for someone to be doing. And there is a greater connection that they are making with that, in the sense that they are connecting with all in the infinite and something that seemingly is much bigger than them to create another reality, which is an interesting and beautiful idea. But there are many forms that this can be, not just prayer. It can be through many of the forms that you take on, and mostly the strongest, most powerful one again is love. Manifest yourself through your situations by experiencing many different ways that you can express your love more unconditionally here on this planet. How you can see it unconditionally into other people and within yourself. Very important here. Many times we see that you are very hard on yourselves in these ways. There's an overall vibration that is felt, and an overall pain that is here on this planet Earth, and is felt throughout your communities and through your personal spaces like your families. And you can alleviate much of that through understanding the limitations that you are naturally putting on these situations and not allowing yourself to love in this sort of way. And not be so hard on yourself.
Even when we have an unconditional love and understand that to some point, do you have an awareness or an understanding how our love for, say, our children grows as they grow? It's an unconditional love that grows. It's even there's a different love that grows for our spouses than for our children. It's still an unconditional love, but is it only in this physical body that love can grow in that fashion?
No, it is not necessarily in this physical body, for there are many different forms you can be taking these experiences on and experiencing a whole nother lifetime on a whole nother area and place without planet Earth. Humanity has its own interesting dynamics here because it is a free will zone, as you would say. Many possibilities are here, and many also limitations are here resulting of that, and many limiting ways of loving each other. For instance, you look at relationships, and yes, we would say looking at your own baby, for instance, would be a great way to see the unconditional love part of you come out. But yes, you don't quite see that with the co-workers that you are with, and even your own spouse. Many times there are as many conditions that you are putting upon the keeper as well, knowing of what we are speaking of here. He does do some of this.
The work thing.
It is allowing yourself, the unconditional part of yourself. That is the piece of light that you carry from home in the way that this reality is, even though this reality will always be an imperfect reality in your own imperfection of being alive. And what is life? What is joy? What is love? Always being expressed with an imperfected sort of way of expressing it. And we're not saying this is a right or wrong way. This is not a polarized thing. But we do see that many times you are distracted and you are limited by much of these belief systems that keep you on a constant nagging, as the keeper did not want to say, towards certain others that are around you. So,
The keeper did not want to say that, though.
allow yourself the imperfected ways that are here. These are flavors of joy that you are allowing and experiencing and bringing yourself through. And you're allowed to taste them all. Yes, even the dark, dark chocolate. Or the light vanilla. There's many different forms and flavors that you can experience in this lifetime of lifetimes. It's not always polarized that it's going to be a higher vibration or a lower vibration that is always going to be the thing to be looking at. But you are naturally, all of you, are raising your consciousness, expanding in many different ways. There was a time here that lowering your density and your vibration was a good thing because your light didn't quite shine the same way as it does now in these physical forms that you have in these bodies of bodies. Interesting bodies, aren't they?
Very.
You can express yourselves differently, and you are excited about these models that you had picked out for yourselves, these forms that you have. These were part of why you came to Earth.
Yay.
And it is your experiences in these bodies. And it's, yes, very hard. This life is very hard in many different ways. These limitations, but you have come to bring your own bit of your light through. Walk in that. Walk in that is in your heart. Express yourself more fully. Live with more of a smile on your face. You can bring this through. We are counting on this for yourselves, not for us. Don't do it because we meet here. And we might be calling on you to see how you are doing or checking on your vibration. Allow yourself these experiences for you. See how far you can take the expanded part of yourself. How far you can take and walk in your own joy. It's imperative in so many ways that we see life truly not being lived in the greatest of fullness of ways. You are doing an exceptional job at changing that. But begin to walk because the transformation is happening now. The limitations are falling all around you. The laws are being broken. Continue to break them. Continue to make mistakes while you break them. It's okay to make these mistakes. It is part of life. It is part of mastering what it is that you've come here to be. Allow that energy to be in your walk, to be a part of your experience in your life, your manifestation at work, or whatever it may be. If work is hindering you, be looking for what is making you, would be more productive for you in your life. More, not in the money source as we are picking up now, but in a way that it would be more joyful. That is abundance in a more depth, because you are standing more closer in your power in these sorts of ways. Look around you in the ways that you can express yourselves in these sort of fashions, and you will find a change, a new change that you can bring throughout your life. Harness this, dear ones.
So is it our understanding that there's no field of judgment if we leave this life in one way or another, whether it's through a natural cause or through a situation that we caused it ourselves to leave? Is there some sort of gateway that we have to go through if we go naturally versus unnaturally? For instance, suicide.
We wouldn't say there is a certain gateway you must go through, but you must not be so attached to the situations that are here, for that may keep you stuck in a sort of a form that you cannot cross so easily, because you are attached to certain situations or beings that are here. And you are repeating much of these things within yourself, and that keeps your attachment here on this earth plane. If you are allowing for love to be a part of your passing, you will notice that it is an easy passing, and it is also the one that you are naturally transversing into where it is you would like to be, and not stuck in your own dogma. And in the terms of unconditionally not judged, that is very real here. It is much like you would see a play, and you see all the actors. You see the villains, and you also see the heroes. But in the end, they all shake hands, and it was just a play. Much like this life.
That's beautifully said.
That is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Talking about love, in passing, I really feel what you're saying there, because when my father passed away, I was in the room with him, my mother and my sister and her daughter, and I would always have thought that experiencing a close family member's death would be this sad thing. And I thought I was kind of weird how I actually experienced it, because it was one of the most joyful experiences of my life. There was so much love in that room, and it was just amazing. Amazing, powerful. And we were all just saying, Dad, it's okay, you can go. Just go. It's all right. And he did. And we all just were really moved. And not at all like I would have thought it would have been.
These sorts of crossing overs can be available. There are not always these cases and scenarios, and sometimes it can be a drastic one. But many times you move during these times and conjunctures. At certain times, for the magnetic effects that you carry on to the next realm. For sometimes it is easier to pass, and that's why it is certain right times. We wouldn't say right or wrong times. Again, this is a language thing. We would say that there are more preferences that you carry on as you are also birthed into this reality with certain attributes, with what you come in for. You are also taking on certain attributes as you leave and exit the same time, as you take on new magnetics and things, as is partly why it sometimes takes a while for someone to die, for instance. But there is an easy crossing over if it is allowed, and it is part of the experience that happens here. And it is a very much loving one, as it can be felt, as it can be expressed. And that is a great, significant way for a beautiful passing on. And you can bring more of those types of experiences here in this realm. And some of you are doing that already.
Well, how about if it doesn't work that way? How about if the room and the situation doesn't have that support of the person leaving? What if there's a lot of fear and
you must know that there was a contract in a sort of way that this person, in some form or another, had opted out at this particular time. It was truly their time to go. Somewhat of a suicide as you would see it anyway. For all, we would say, deaths here are more like suicides in this sense. Because you have designed this before your life, and many times a way out of these things. And sometimes it is a feeling that, or a particular time, as you wanted to experience life in a certain way, in a fashion. Although it's not quite through the understanding that, oh, why did this person die? They were so young. But it was for that person to die at that time, to be experiencing what it was for that amount of time. It's hard to understand some of these things, but do know, yes, that great crossing over, you're not so separated from them. And yes, you can feel much of the energy that is passed on. Much of that is unconditional love. And many of their attachments that they had on this earth instantly go away. And there is a new light that they instantly merge with, and that is much of who they are to begin with, who you are now.
In the case of my father, he went because of Alzheimer's, and he appeared to me not long after he passed, as if kind of to say, I wasn't this barely I'm more than this barely functioning, frail, falling apart human. I want you to think of me as this whole and beautiful and powerful being. And he just he didn't say anything. He just was kind of there and just kind of smiling like, this is who I really am. This is who I want you to think of me as. It was really cool.
And all of you, each of you here, are those magnificent beings that are pretending so well what it is like to be a human being on this earth. A human doing. Each of you are creative masters, and you are mastering your life in certain ways, and you are seeing your life in new perspectives and within each other. We talked about time imprints in a past time. You are repeating some of these, some of you, and you are, in a way, trying to master yourselves through these, trying to create a better imprint for yourself. And what we would say an imprint is what you are in these facets of time. You have come to master parts of realities and who you love and your dear ones to you, and who it is that are also seemingly the annoying people around you that you are also learning to harmonize with, situations that sometimes arises. This is not necessarily that we are talking about karma here. It is something else entirely. That you have wanted to come in a way to see yourself merging differently, to create a new reality for yourselves, to create a light, a way of walking, and step lightly. You're doing a magnificent job, by the way. Humanity is very quickly changing themselves. Keep allowing this expandingness of yourselves, and you are going to notice changes within all things. Yes, this change of energy that we were talking about, you are that change, quietly changing this earth one thought at a time, as you are connected just as a seed is connected to the whole of the plant. And these thoughts within yourselves, or the thoughts of an elm, for instance, or within the elm seed, are going to produce its own fruit for yourselves. And notice where you are focusing your attention each day.
So as a whole, we're beginning to transmute thought and even energy, so that we are truly adjusting to even the population of the people on this planet, so that we understand this planet can hold a bigger population as well, so that we don't panic like some people are.
Part of the earth is holding a greater population of beings, human beings, for it is the most precious part of the earth that is coming about. The earth takes on new levels of vibration as the beings are here. Now, what the beings are together as a collective, that creates the energy that this earth is. Much of this earth is. Not all in all of the aspects, but the interactions with the being and the earth itself, it is all part of the web of consciousness that you are making your own wake here now. So there is a creation of many more beings, yes, happening now. The populations are continuing here, but look at it as an expansion in a sense. As crystals are allowed to store information, there is more light being grounded here. And there is a new understanding, a new rapid expansion throughout all of this earth because of the beings and the ideas that are being expressed here now. And the vibration and the expansionness of those things creates new realities, creates things, technologies that didn't seem to work in the past to suddenly work now, to be harnessed in these certain ways as the factions and people can understand them in the vibrations that they are adapting into. So there is somewhat of an evolution of creative ideas, evolution of myths, of ideas as well. And your sciences and your spirituality is beginning to come together as you observe both. And you see the correlations within both. And there's a new harnessing and a new sort of light that is beginning to take on its own effect here. And you, dear ones, are moving this rapidly by yourselves already and doing a magnificent job. For this earth was not quite that way 100 years ago, 200 years ago. Much, much different earth then.
So it's a great influence. There is a collective, conscious.
Yes.
And that is one of the great influences, the amount of the population. So you get the greater collective is actually lifting those thoughts?
The greater collective, yes, in a way, in a sense, is lifting those thoughts. Is expanding, is what we would say,
yes.
Those thoughts. For each of you have your own identity, your own thumbprint, as you will, your own personal take on what it is, your own filters of reality. And you are interacting together as a human race on this planet of Earth here. And so you are taking on new ideas, and each of you are perceiving them differently, and you are internalizing them differently, and that creates a new idea, a new myth, a new part of yourselves that becomes into reality. All of those things that are combining here together. And you are the most aware beings that are here living on the surface of this earth. So you are, in a way, graduating yourselves from a new idea, a new expressiveness of who it is that you are, the way that you interact with others, the way you see others. It is not so divided as you used to have seen it, religiously, racely, country-wise. It is not so divided, it is more one. You are taking more of an ownership of responsibility in seeing more of this earth in the ways that you can harmonize with it. It's not going to be the case instantly. There is still going to be a bit of chaos in this, as there are some that are not thinking in this sort of fashions and ways.
But as the broader perspective, from what you can see, this whole perspective, you see quite a transition to being more in harmony?
There is quite a transition already, and you are beginning to make your own magnificence, creating even your own portals with these time stamps that you have placed on this new coming month here. For you are generating your own portal of time, in a sense, and coming through it in a different way afterwards. You are coming through your own step of evolution as man takes its own step, and coming out the other side with a different sense of yourself, and beginning to open your arms into understanding what you can do with your life and create new realities for yourself, beginning to lead more with the heart and beginning to balance some of this. With this will come many ideas, much more of the joy that you have been wanting. You feel very absent and very disconnected too, and you have bought into certain belief systems in doing so, reasons why you cannot have the kind of life that you would like to have. For you live these different parallel realities through all of your choices and decisions and thoughts and belief systems. And yet you are still weaving through much of this, even though you are faced with many of these obstacles that are in almost all cases created by yourselves.
So has there been another time that you know of where a population this large is actually beginning? I feel that we're really beginning to accept other cultures and not separate ourselves. And you spoke about that a minute ago. But it feels like on the planet right now, for as many cultures and races that live on the planet, that we're moving into a place where we're very accepting and not separating. Has there been another time on this planet where the population was this big? Is that part of our evolution that's really expanding and growing in such a good light?
The populations haven't quite been this dramatic, actually. It has been bigger in other times of this Earth intervals. One time being Lemuria, another time being the Atlantean time that this Earth was here. But those populations have also been drastically moving. And you are connected in very many different ways to much of these populations' growths and also stunts. This is the first time that there has been a push over, a tipping point, where a new idea, a new type of human being is being formed now. And you are creating this now, in this time, in this way, this round, we would say.
The Earth Mother says she's calling us Amara. That's the name of the new human.
Are we focused on a date?
Some are focused on a date, and others are not entirely focused on any sort of date at all. But you have created your own special dates, as you have celebrated on certain times. For some have celebrated on these master numbers, 11, 11, 11, 12, 12, 12, that sort of thing is coming up. You are creating yourselves your own bit of a vortex, as we were calling it before. And on December 21st, this great way, you are sort of moving yourself through this tight little expandedness of yourself. Now, this is something that some are going to be more involved with than others. There are certain alignments that are, yes, happening, but much of this is somewhat of a thing for mankind. It is more of a man-marked sort of thing.
Well, in other words, we're giving our own self our own birthday and
Your own reality.
our own party.
It's more like a long phase or a long period of transition, wouldn't you say?
Yes, there's a period of transition that has always been taking place. But you are speeding that forward. You're speeding that. You're bringing much of the events that we thought were going to happen later for you, and you are bringing it forward now. And you are taking advantage of this. Oh yes, you have done much more than you have we have even thought that you would do in certain ways. You are bringing new ideas faster than what we had anticipated. And yes, that does create other types of vibrations, that does create higher vibrations as well. And this bandwidth that is moving all together, as humanity is moving all together, are taking on new ideas. And even the third world countries are moving along with much of these changes in a certain degree, as more hands are being held out to help them. You are lifting each other up, and you are stepping up yourselves. And this has also been bringing on much more of the events that you are having, and you are also expressing. It is also a time that your voices and your opinions will matter. You may not see this now, but you may see this in a future time of looking back of why this particular time of humanity, where the voices and expressions of what it is that you want meant something. For you are changing your reality as you're doing that in personal decisions that seemingly don't seem like much to you now in your own life.
You have mentioned before that when we understand and harness free energy, that's when some big changes will come about. Are we coming close to that?
There are many ideas that energy can be used. And yes, these ideas have been brought down many different ways on this planet and has been expressed and made in different ways. But it is the collective believes that they need to be on a certain way of everything, going to a gas station and knowing that they feel that they are under a sort of power, that there will always be that. For most are still in this vibration of feeling that. These ideas are coming in many different forms and fashions of energy that is much more cheaply done, or free energy as you would call that. But these are not ideas that feel like they can be expressed in the entirety of that they are now. So they are sort of on the back burner. Although new ideas are still coming in, new ideas are still being brought out. And many ideas, yes, are being stifled in sort of ways to keep and maintain this sort of power. But yes, there are forms, as technology will continue to move, that will be more harmonizing for this particular planet that you live on. New ideas that will also clean up your own pollutions and things that have been created in your past. But these steps are going to be made by humanity and humanity's ways of understanding the earth themselves. This is your earth plane. This is your reality. And you are making of it what you will. Your expressions.
Speaking of free energy for a moment, I did some work recently with a lady by the name of Carla, and she had recommended for Felicity Joe that we start working on bringing in the yang energy. Do you have any comments on that? Because I kind of reconfigured some things to facilitate kind of an analogy to the pineal with the emerald, and kind of like a godhead coming down, great spirit energy coming down from a light. And can you comment on how things are going there?
We will not elaborate too much on this particular project, but we will say that each different gem that you would put near this energy form, that you are using different vibrations around it, and they can do different things to what is happening here. You will continue to explore different ideas that are coming in different directions, but just allow yourself an understanding of trying to play with it all and seeing what works for you, what works for the whole process of what it is that you are trying to create out of this. For having somewhat of a designation point of what this is going to be doing and the intention of what it will be doing will also bring about some of the manifestations of what this project will bring about for yourself. So look at the points of intentions that you would like to bring on this, and then bring that more in perspective of what it is that you are trying to bring about on this particular project.
Right. Thank you.
Is there a universal consciousness that says there will be no child left behind, no human left behind when we go through this shift, however long it takes, eons or days or hours?
No, there is no such thing. There's no child left behind, no human left behind. For you are all in your own dogmas, you're all in your own belief systems as it is. No one's going to... It is not, again, your purpose to necessarily wake everyone up from a dream, to have them follow a new set of belief systems. This is not exactly what it will be about, and it will be an attempt in failure in most cases.
Some will try. That's what you're saying, right?
Absolutely, as we would try as well to hopefully expand some of the ideas that you are bringing to the group, to this table here, to this circle of friends here. So, do not put upon yourselves to necessarily be trying, we would say, to change other people, but to truly try to change within yourselves. And what we would ask you to change the most about yourselves is the ways that you can express love in all sorts of ways. Begin with yourself within, for the reality that expressed is without itself, the external part of itself, is the reality that you are. So bring in your own bit of light, your own bit of love. Harness it, feel it. What is hurting and what is the pain within yourselves?
Yeah.
Look at it, begin to transmute that energy, and you will begin to see the energy around you change.
That feels very good when you say that.
Well, and that definitely is the topic, transmutation of the energy.
That's exactly part of what we are speaking of here. You are changing yourselves into a new vibration. You are changing yourselves into a new humanity.
Am I supposed to do the symposium I was thinking of? And are you saying just don't work on that, work on yourself first?
In most cases, we would say yes, work on yourself first. You see, when you are understanding love and you're internalizing love and you're bringing your ideas of what it is that you would like to express in your reality with the reality that in the joy that is already within your heart, you're naturally going to bring a harmonization to your balance of what it is that you would like to create for yourself and what it is that you have in your heart, an expression of yourself. And this will be a manifestation of yourself, an extension of yourself. And so if you are breaking this down and harmonizing what it is that is within yourself first, understanding the love that you have, what it is that you enjoy about this particular matter that you would like to work on, understanding what it is that you would like to facilitate, and those ideas that are expanded and begin to collect on those things, begin to compound, begin to express, begin to create more ideas around the same sort of idea, begins to bring a seed that changes the project that you would like to have, that is more in harmony of what it is, and brings more excitement to you in the doing of that. So allow yourself this development of yourselves to unfold those blossoms within yourselves, the things that are most sweet, that you would like to express. Yes, these are extensions of yourselves, ideas that you are bringing in. And yes, there are beings, other helpers, other guides that would like to come in and help you with these ideas, to help you drop more ideas as you are focused in this sort of way. For your thoughts do create much of your reality and are linked. And where you are putting your focus, and where you are still putting your focus, and where you're putting your focus in moment to moment, you're bringing on a new vibration and lining up yourselves much more closely to what is real. And this also corresponds to your belief systems that you are also incorporating with all of this network But yes, if you understand and master yourself first, and bringing love to these ideas that you naturally are drawn to love about them, that you are naturally going to bring more to the table with it.
Whoa. So is it fair to say then, the more that we do follow our heart, the more joy we do find, we invite more beings to come in and work with us?
If that is what you intend, yes. If, though. So we would say, yes, focus on what it is that is in your heart and follow that. The ideas that will come to you may or may not be from other beings, but they are going to be ideas that are harmonizing. You are naturally a vibration that is attracting on a constant basis, already on an automatic process of transmuting energy. As you are still alive, you are still breathing, you are taking in this air of atoms and you are exhaling them, that you are an always, ever-changing bit of energy. And where you are focusing your thoughts, where you are focusing yourselves in these, will change much of this. Now, it may or may not come in through all the forms of other beings, but it will come through the infinite of all that there is, for you are connected to it all. So you have access to all things. Hard to believe on this sort of plane, isn't it?
Yes.
So are we actually just talking about creating self-love? We have a terminology on this planet that has not always been viewed as beneficial. It's been more ego-based. But the transmutation of energy seems to be creating more of a self-love consciousness, but from the heart.
Yes, growing your own self-love may sound very selfish, but this is a part that is a natural occurrence with all beings, with all subjects, that they have their own heart, and they, in this particular reality, we are finding that it is more mind-based and has always been sort of a way of looking at things. You must work hard to do certain things, to make your goals happen for you, and you must be this sort of a way to have your own abundant life. Yes, you must have certain things going for you. Growing that love within yourself can create a whole other sort of dynamic for yourself. This may seem very self-centered in a way, and yes, we are asking you to self-center yourselves. Get in touch with what it is that you enjoy. Acknowledge that. Those things that you have naturally buried sometimes within yourselves, within belief systems of yourselves. And take them out and look at them again. They may not be quite the same as what you were in the past when you were a kid and you looked at these things. But perhaps now you have a new idea. You look at things differently with them. And you are beginning to know whether you are having bad situations or good situations, what it is that you do not like and what it is you like. And start doing those things that you enjoy. It's just a matter of taking that right turn that feels more comfortable.
I like that phrase, follow your passion.
Follow your bliss.
Yeah.
So when we leave this physical body and we're in our light body again, do we have a heart?
Do you have a heart? You have an expanded awareness of your heart, connecting to the infinite, that is always connected to the infinite, but you have that veil that is no more. You have that connection that is a solid one with all things. Yes, you have much more of your heart back, much more of your light.
But when we're here in the physical, we also have. See, I feel very strongly that there's such beauty and such amazing opportunity here that, I guess that to try and contrast or compare, it doesn't seem fair because, yes, there's great things that we experience after we leave the body, but my experience of this planet has been incredible. There's such beauty and such joy that is here whenever I open to it. I don't need to leave my body to feel that. I mean, it is here. It's just different, and it's so real, and it's so physical, and it's so sensory, you know. And my dog just covers my face with her big tongue, and it isn't always good, but it's like, it's sensory. It's just like, it's so real, you know. And I think that that's something that's of great joy to me that I don't ever want to try to push away from. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, and there are other beings that would be completely disgusted with this sort of being in these physical forms that you are in and see it much differently than you. But this is a great mastery, and yes, we love your perspective of how you see this world, for that is the joy, that is the part of that you come here to experience what it is that you enjoy, what it is that you see in the details of the work and the mastery that is around you, and the parts that are you take in. It is the experience that brings the depth to your life. And the way that you perceive those experiences is what becomes meaning. For this is all just energy moving in and out of form, is it not? This is all just you in a moment of time. Make it what it is. Make it for what it is. Enjoy it for what it is or what it isn't. Many see it in a different sort of light, as this as being a very, very hard life to live. And there are moments like a roller coaster where it is very incredibly fast and fun, and other times that it is just not so that way. But the ride of life is one that you can take in, and you can also make the most of, and you are definitely a part of. Create the new courses for yourselves. Create the abundance that you see in all things. And allow this love and respect that you see within other people. For you are all beings of light here. You're all spiritual beings understanding many different things on multiple levels here. Beginning to remember what it was and who you are and what you've come here to be. These are expressions that are naturally lighting up your own particular heart, your own particular physicality, what it is that you enjoy, what vibrates you, what gets you up in the morning. Look at the details of what it is that you would like to experience.
You have definitely once again enriched the moment that you've spent with us.
Dear ones, it is time for you all to step up. Enjoy your life. Be the expanded part of your new Ista vibrations. It has been our honor to be here and to speak among this beautiful crowd here now.
And our honor as well.
Thank you.
It is an honor, and so it is.